10. Okay, all right, I got it. Okay, so I'm here at no worries. I'm here at Fourth World Comics, Smithtown, New York. Terrence, Chris, everybody's here. Zach, Tom, putting out your books. I got just a few minutes before the doors open, and there's already a line out there, which is always awesome to see. So I'm gonna go quick. Couple things. First, totally self-promotional, but Nocterra #5 is out today. I'm so proud of this issue. It's actually our best-selling issue. Great variants by Carrie Knorr and my buddy Francesco Francavilla. It's our best-selling issue since #1. So thank you guys so much for supporting this series, making it such a hit. I can't say thank you enough. Honestly, we love it. We're gonna keep it going a really long time. So #2, I asked on Twitter and Instagram the other day if you guys would be interested in a longer form teaching thing, because it seems like the responses to these have been pretty overwhelming, for me at least, to see people so interested in craft stuff, which is hugely inspiring. And I got more likes like on the posts on Instagram than on anything I've ever posted. So I really got excited. I feel so energized to teach again. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, what I'm gonna do, I'm figuring out a way of doing it where, you know, I do a lot of charity classes at this point. I'm doing a couple coming up for women in comics and one for a kid battling cancer. And I do them in a way where the classes usually cost between 150 and $300 for like 2 hours, you know, 2 to 3 hours, really condensed version of this sort of 10 episode session class that I used to do at all different schools and NYU and Columbia and places, and then at DC when I taught there. But I want to do it in a way where everybody can afford it. I don't want to make it that, and even though I've been doing that for nonprofit, I want to do it in a way where it's like a third, under $100 for a year. Hey, oh awesome! Oh wow! Oh my god! I didn't even look at this, dude. Batman, death metal with the guitar based on the Doug Monkey guitar. That's awesome. Thanks, Zach. I want to do it in a way where it's like really affordable, you know, under $100 for the whole class for like 10 sessions, 2 hours a piece, you know, just a few bucks per each one, so that anybody can take it. And you know, other things, like if you want me to read your stuff, we can figure out other things, but ultimately like a masterclass format. So look for that. I'll kind of going to combine that announcement, I think, with moving most of my social media over to my to the Best Jacket website, which we're going to reveal. I have a prototype up now, but we're going to reveal a big new one in a couple weeks, with a newsletter attached, that is going to be kind of a way that I update everything. It's just, I mean, I love Twitter, I love Instagram and all that stuff, but it's just too much of a maw, and I want to be able to communicate a little more directly with you guys, and this stuff has really fed that need. Third thing, I'm really glad that you guys liked the 3-act structure stuff. I got so many questions about it. I'm going to return to that topic soon, because it's one of those skeleton key things, facets of writing, where I feel like it unlocks so much for me coming up about pacing, about structure, about conflict, about characterization, about everything. So we'll look at a couple comics, and I'll explain the different points on that arc, about the point of no return, the all hope is lost, the end of Act 1, you know, all those different kinds of things. And we can go through it, and I'll show you how a comic book art kind of overlays that structure a lot of times. But just to promote a comic that I think is fantastic, I just read, I know Barbaric 1 came out this week from Vault. One of my former students, Mike Morisi, who again I'm learning more from than he ever learned from me. Nathan Gooden, incredible book. It's like a really badass, irreverent retelling of a barbarian story now, and that first issue perfectly encapsulates that kind of introduction to character aspect of the 3-act structure, where it goes from showing who the character is in terms of the challenges they're about to face emotionally, to the inciting incident, where it kind of spins them towards the journey they're going to take at the end of Act 1.
Sold out, but let us know if you want.
Sold out. Yes, if you want another one, second print, call the store. I read an issue 2. Mike gave me issue 2, 32 pages of more amazing barbarian stuff. Soren, the witch, sorry to give too much away, but they're going, this whole history of her backstory and the abbey that they're going to go attack is amazing. So you should totally pick it up. Vault's doing great things right now. So for today, in terms of a lesson, the thing I thought, I really was caught off guard by a lot of comments this week about the New 52. I didn't realize that it's the 10th anniversary, I guess, of the New 52 starting, or whatever it was that made it trend. Caught me off guard, and Greg too. But we really were overwhelmed. I mean, I got way too many nice comments about our Batman run and Swamp Thing with Yannick and Nathan, and I can't say enough thank you enough. But so I figured maybe I'd use a lesson from that first year of the New 52 when it was really, I was just completely learning how to be a comic book writer, and it was probably the most important lesson I think I've learned to this day about what it means to be a comic book writer. And so I thought I'd kind of maybe tell that story a little bit in honor of the 10th anniversary of the New 52. Now, the New 52 was like an incredibly exciting time. There was so much I loved about it and believed in, and so much that was chaotic and frustrating and volatile, and it was just a wild, wild time. I was also like a super baby writer who I had been trying to break into comics forever from fiction, but I had just broken in and I had expected to be doing backups maybe on things for a little while on total C-list characters forever. And I got thrown onto detective, which was amazing, but I was just constantly terrified and lived in abject terror all the time in an anxiety panic attack nonstop. It like almost ruined my marriage, like all kinds of stuff where I was just like, I am not worthy of being on a Batman book. So by the time the New 52 started and they moved me over to Batman, they asked me if I wanted to do Batman proper. And I was like, okay, but I'll do it with Jock and I'll do it with Francesco from Detective. And you know, I'll keep it that kind of a thing. They're giving me a warning that people are going to come in. But then they were like, no, it's with this new artist, Greg Capullo. And then they told me it was going to be #1. First time in 70 years or so at that time, and I flipped out and was like, I can't do this. This is terrifying. And so up to that point, I had been writing. The only way that I could even get my head around writing Batman was to write it in this intensely full script kind of way, and that's all I wrote, intense full script. Now full script, I did a whole video on this a while ago. It's on YouTube about the difference between Marvel style and full script, and all the things in between. And it's in the Nocterra Kickstarter too, if you got that, like this essay about it. But full script, essentially, if I was doing full script, it reads just like it sounds, like it's every single panel. It's like this. So it'd be like, the point of the scene is a really suspenseful chase where it surprises us when you turn the page about what's really going on. Panel 1, rain drums the rooftops in Gotham. Panel 2, boots run across the rooftop, same angle, but boots now run across Batman's boots covered in blood. Panel 3, same angle, cop's boots chasing him. Page 2, splash, Batman covered in blood, cop chasing him saying, why'd you kill Commissioner Gordon? Blah, 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 right? For Marvel style, the point of the scene is an intense, suspenseful chase on the rooftops that surprises us when we see what's really going on. Pages 1 to 3, Batman's being chased on the roof by police officers. Let's keep it tense and suspenseful. And then what you realize when you get to the big reveal, wherever you want to do it, artist, is that he's being accused of killing Commissioner Gordon. So let's be explosive with that. Pages 4 to 5, okay? The thing that's the same in both is the point of the scene. I always put, this is what we're trying to do. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that there's a big elasticity to the way you write scripts, but all I did was full script. I was like intense with photo refs, with everything. It was like 40 pages. Met Greg. They hooked me up with Greg, who I only knew tangentially, like, of him from Spawn. I mean, I didn't know him in person. And he was just like, you know, I like this, but can you just give me the important parts? And I'm like, they're all important, you know, whatever. And then, you know, I gave him the script again, and he was like, I don't need the photo references. By the way, I didn't even know he couldn't see the photo references. For years, he had me putting photo references in the scripts and never told me as a joke that his computer wouldn't see them, so it's just blank boxes. So I spent all this time being like, here's how this should look, here's how that. He never told me until we were friends later that he couldn't even see them. Anyway, then he was like, another week passed, and he was like, listen, man, I'm telling you, these scripts are really long. I think the story's getting in the way of some of the art. And I'm like, I think some of the art might get in the way of the story then. And we just did not get along. And it was all my fault. I was just terrified. I was like literally shaking, terrified of doing Batman #1, writing Bruce for the first time. Dick Grayson was really easy for me, even though it was terrifying. But it was easy because Dick Grayson tells you everything he feels. And he was terrified and excited to be Batman. I was terrified and excited to write Batman, so it was like a perfect marriage. Bruce, though, was just like, come on, let's do this. Don't be a wimp. And I'd be like, ah. So anyway, Greg, we get back to it, and Greg's like, listen, if you just give me more room, I'll do a better job. And I'm like, you can change anything you want, but I have to write it this way, because it was the only way I could envision it in my head and feel like I knew it. And if you changed it, that was totally fine, but I just needed to see it. And, you know, if that's how you have to write to this day, God bless you, totally do whatever works for you. But that's how I was. And then we kept, DC, it got so bad where they were like, you guys can't talk to each other anymore, but we still kept talking, even though it was funny. At one point, Greg, I was like, listen, man, I know what I'm doing. I won the Eisner for American Vampire and this and that. And he was like, your mom must have been very proud of you. And I was like, well, she is proud of me. You know what? We really were just like, and I remember I called Dan and he called Dan. We were both like, maybe we can't work together. But eventually we started talking, and I saw his designs for the owls, and they looked amazing. And so it was like, all right. And then he started working on the book itself, and it was going great. And it was when I got to this issue about the labyrinth, and I was writing way ahead, so it was like way before it came out. But I was like, look, okay, what if I just loosen up, do what you ask, and be like, what if in this one scene, do whatever you want, but it's just, here's the dialogue, here's what needs to happen. And the point of the whole thing, because always, no matter what style you write, communicate to your partner what the not just artist, co-creator, partner, what the point of the scene is. It's this, right? So you know, I'm like, Batman should be totally disoriented, maybe we do something with fractured panels, whatever. And Greg came back with this amazing idea to turn the book, and literally I was like, that's great, let's do it. And DC came back and was like, everyone's gonna think it's a misprint. And Greg wrote this super impassioned email that was like, you know, quoting Steve Jobs, and sometimes you have to be foolish and this and that. And finally they just like, fuck it, just let these guys do whatever and blah blah. So we did it, and they sent us the PDF when it came out, and it was vertical, so we read it and we were like, see, it looks great. And then when I got the book in the mail and I saw it, and it was like, literally, I didn't realize, and I don't think, you know, Greg will tell you he didn't either, but I didn't realize at the time that when you're actually reading it, it doesn't just kind of turn, but when you turn it and he's lost in the labyrinth, you have to turn the book, so it literally starts reading backwards in the thing, and it gets like super crazy. And so when I got it, I was like, oh my god, it's a misprint. And then I realized it wasn't and thought it was great. And then I tweeted, I was like, oh, you know, there's no misprint in Batman 5, that's all deliberate. And Greg wrote me and was like, don't say that. If they don't get it, they don't get it. They'll figure it out. And then he got his copies. I took the tweet down. And then like 30 minutes later, he got his copies. And he tweeted, he's like, there's a misprint in 5. And I called him like, no, that's what it's supposed to be. And when he looked at it, he's like, it's even better this way. And I was the same. And the reason I tell this story is this. Like, that was the issue that changed the whole thing for us, where I was like, I have to loosen up and give this guy room because he's so amazing, and the more room I give him, the more the story just gets elevated, and it inspires me to do better writing after I see it and be like, and that was the key to me. It made me realize that working with an artist isn't just writing it and the artist draws it. And not that I ever thought the writer was more important than the boss. I just mean that I thought the partnership was you write it and then they interpret it and do however they want, and they have every right to change it and all of that. It's collaborative in a way where if I can adjust my style to be what they want, and I ask at the beginning, hey Terrence, at the beginning of every project, how do you like to work? Do you like to work full script? Do you like to work Marvel style? Do you like to get on the phone? Do you like to, because the thing is, don't think writer artist, think co-creator, think partner. You guys are in it together. You know what I mean? You're making something organic that's like a living thing together. Hey, good. What's up, brother? And so, you know, that's the point. Is it was the best lesson I've ever learned. I've learned so many from Greg and everything, but that key of being like, it's a collaborative art form in so many ways, but in that way, in the intense personal way that you're making something you're passionate about, that means something to you, that's like, you know, you need to be vulnerable and open that thing up and say, this is why it matters to me. How would you do it in a way that expresses that in your style, that says the same thing but elevates it because of you feel the same way or you understand where I'm coming from. And so that became my relationship with Greg, and I changed. Now he teases me I write almost total Marvel style, where my scripts can be like 10 pages for a 20 to 30 page thing, and he's like, I do all the hard work. I'm like, you asked for it, brother. So anyway, I just thought I'd relate that one story from the New 52. If you're a writer out there, if you have to write one way or another, I understand. I have friends that have to do it, but if you can, at the very least, talk to your artist. Always communicate. Say, listen, how would you like me to do this? If you can do it that way, do it that way. You'll get better stuff. At the very least, understand that it's a conversation all the time and that you're building something together as equal partners. And the more you let that person in that you're working with, the better the stuff's going to be. All right, that's it. And Fourth World Comics, Smithtown, New York. Come by. Amazing store, amazing people. Again, look for an announcement about teaching in earnest. Nocterra 5 out today. Barbaric from Vault is out. last week, a couple books out this week. I just want to mention Good Asian. It's the 3rd issue already. This book, everyone's crowing about it. It's amazing. I love the creators as well. Nice House on the Lake. I just can't say enough good things about this. I mean, and this is my brother, you know, James and Alvaro, and Jordy. Incredible. Also, I haven't mentioned this one yet, but Ultra Mega, by James Herron. This book is so good. It's literally about like a kaiju virus that turns people into giant kaijus, and it's just great. So I really hope you'll check it out. So many good indie comics out there in addition to Marvel and DC. And yeah, guys, thanks again.